Hello. Our gospel reading for this past Sunday was from John, and it describes Jesus appearing to the disciples and showing them his hands and his side so that they can see the wounds from his crucifixion. The disciples tell Thomas, who had not been with them when Jesus appeared to them, that they have seen Jesus. And Thomas remarks that he, too, wants to see the mark of the nails in Jesus' hands and to actually touch them and the sword wound in his side. Thomas says that unless he can see these wounds firsthand, he cannot believe that Jesus is risen and has appeared to them and is indeed the Messiah. Then a week later, when Thomas is in the house with the disciples, Jesus appears to them again and invites Thomas to examine the wounds. And Thomas exclaims, "My Lord and my God," and he believes. When I was a teenager, I went on a trip and found a card in a gift shop to send my grandmother. It was a black and white photograph of a woman's hands. These hands were very old and very wrinkled. One hand was folded over the other, and they rested on the woman's lap. When I got home, I asked my grandmother if she had received the card I had sent her, and her response was not what I expected. You see, my grandmother collected hands of all sorts: antique Victorian vases, early American pressed glass, small containers, all with hand motifs. So I thought she would like the card I had picked out for her. But she looked at me quizzically and asked, "Do you think my hands look like that?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." And then I realized that she did not see her own hands as being so very old. I said to her, "If your hands were perfectly smooth, they wouldn't say anything about the life you have lived." I had sat close to her how many times, watching her peel an apple for me, or make clothes at her sewing machine, or crochet afghans, or garden, or cook. Her hands, with their wrinkles and veins and cracked cuticles, had a lot to say about her life. I loved her hands. Well, not too long after that, she showed me something she had painted at the art classes she was taking, and I'll share it with you now. She had painted the card that I brought her, a little oil painting of these old aged hands resting in a woman's lap. We don't tend to question the appearance of Jesus' wounds after his resurrection, because Scripture accounts for them. But it is fair to wonder why, in Jesus' resurrected glory, his body would still bear them. One way to reflect upon this is to remember that while the resurrection is proof of God's victory over death, it is the wounds that cause us to recall Jesus' great love for us. As he said to his disciples, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." What about our wounds? Our wrinkles and scars and imperfections that have accrued through the years. Rather than see them as flaws or something to hide, we can see them as reminders of lessons learned, wisdom gained, sacrifices made, as we seek in all things to love one another as he loved us.